Bootstrap allows for many different button styles. The first row in this example provides an illustration of what the different button classes look like. In our HTML code on the left side, we can see how each button was created. We start with the open button tag, and this is in reference to the first button here, the default button. After the button tag, we specify the type attribute, which in this case is button. And next, this is the important part for the styling, we specify the two classes, button, btn, and button default. Button default gives this type of button styling. Next, we've just specified the label for the button, which in this case is default. And lastly, we close the button element tag. For the remaining buttons in this block of code, all we've done is updated the button class and button label. So you can see here for the second button, we've changed one of the classes to button primary and updated the label as well to primary. If you wanted something different displayed on the button, you could simply go ahead and change the label. I'll save the file, and once I refresh, we can see different text displayed in the button. The third button uses the button success class, followed by button info, warning, danger, and button link. Button link creates this type of an effect. It's a text link which is underlined on mouse over. Bootstrap also allows us to apply button classes to elements such as input elements and submit buttons. We can see an example here. The first item is a link element. You can see that with the open A tag and closing A tag. In this case, the link element has been assigned the class button and button info. We also need to specify the button, the role, which in this case equals button. And when we do that, this is the type of button that's created. And so you can see that we've converted a link element into a button format. Next, we have the input button. So you can see the open input tag. We specified the type, button type. And we've also specified the class, which in this case, two classes, button and button primary. And so you can see we've applied, this is the type of style that's created to an input when you apply these two classes. Next, we have a submit button, a submit input. And we've applied two classes again, button and button warning. And this is the type of input style we get from those two classes. Now keep in mind that the value is just the text that's outputted on the button itself. So if we wanted to change that, we could. After saving, I'll just refresh. And you can see that the label changes. We can change the size of the buttons by adding the button size class. Here we have our first button set to button large, so btn-lg, and that produces the largest button size, followed by button medium, small, and extra small. And you can see the output on the right-hand side here. We can create block level buttons using Bootstrap. A block level button spans the entire width of the parent element. So in this case, the parent element is a fixed width container. So there you can see the parent class equals container. Okay, and to create a block level button, you just need to apply the button-block class. So here we have button, button primary, and the third class button block. And so that's what that looks like there. You'll notice that the other block level buttons are larger, or sorry, the second one is larger and the other one is smaller. And that's because we've specified the size. So on the second block level button, we've just created another class, which is button large. Okay, the button primary is as we explored previously, is the bluish button. Button default is the clear button. And so you can see all the different classes we've applied here. Button, button primary, button large, and button block. And that's produced this large block level button here. These two block level buttons were created in the same way. All we've done is changed from button large to button small, as you can see here. We can create disabled or active buttons. So you can see here that this button is unclickable, meaning it's disabled. And on the left, this button is active. Okay, so on the left-hand side in the code, we can see that we've applied the button class, button primary, and also active. So the active class gives it a little bit more of a highlight. It's slightly darker blue than the primary class, which is over here. Now disabled, you can see in the second button, we've created the different classes button, button primary, and disabled. So by adding the disabled class, this is the effect you get.